I started this broadcast before, but I lost my connection. So we're going to start over again now. From the Mishnah beginning at the bottom of Zayin base in Megillah, Yerushalmi Megillah. And Megillah the Shabbos el Ochel Nefesh Bavad. The only difference between Shabbos and Yontif is whether one can do Ochel Nefesh, preparation for food preparation, which can be done on Yontif and not on Shabbos. And Ben Shabbos Yom Kippurim. The Shabbos Yom Kippur Shazez don't be Adam. The penalty for this creating Shabbos is Misa B'dei Adam, which is Skila, of course. Then we correct the penalty for Yom Kippur in the terms of its death penalty is Okaris, which is Dei Shammai. Whereas Malchus, which is B'dei Adam, but we're talking about the death penalty. Death penalty by Yom Kippur is not only Kares, not a Misa spaced in. Says time Shem Rabbi Yehuda, name Rabbi Yehuda. Av Machshiri Ochel Nefesh Yitiru. Also the preparations of Ochel Nefesh are Mutar Yotzef. Ma B'nei, what's in between our time who holds that the preparations of Ochel Nefesh are Asur. Now, preparation of Ochel Nefesh is preparations to prepare Ochel Nefesh are Asur. And Rabbi Yehuda also preparations to prepare Ochel Nefesh are Mutar. What's in between the two? So, says the Gemara, Rabbi Chizdi, interesting Yerushalmi name, Omer Lechadi Rosh Shapur Shabanim, whether you can sharpen the head of a skewer on Yontif. Obviously, according to Rabbi Yehuda, you can, because it's a preparation to prepare Ochel Nefesh, but according to Rabbanan, you cannot. Rabbi Chanina Brei Rabbi Avo says Hotzi, perhaps we would say Hotzas, but the idea is, of course, the same. To Eish Me'avoni B'neim. The difference is whether one can create fire from stones. In other words, the initial fire, striking a fire on Yontif, according to Rabbi Yehuda, it is mutter because it's preparatory to the preparation of Ochel Nefesh, and according to Rabbanan, it is not permissible, according to our Mishnah, because it's preparation for the preparation, not the preparation itself. The Tzin Yerushalayim here says, "Ikam Raya Bru L'Shitas Rambam." From here, there's a clear evidence to the sheet of the Rambam. The Hoti Eish Min Avonim Hatam Mishum Machshir Ochel Nefesh. The reason why it's forbidden to produce fire on Yontif, to use fire is permitted, but to produce fire is because it's Machshire Ochel Nefesh, preparations for the preparation. Lo Karayv in the fresh Mishum Hachana. It's not like the Rebbe says the issue is because of Hachana, that here clearly is connected to Machshir Ochel Nefesh. So let's go on further. Tani Rabbi Yehuda Bar Pazi, the Barzila. The Rabbi Yehuda Bar Pazi of Barzila said, who Adover? This is the matter. Ma who Adover? Notice this is the matter. The Chadi Rosh Shaputo Adover. The issue is, the issue of Nafkamina is to sharpen the head of the skewer. Because if the issue was reducing fire from flint, then it can only go as the following, which is that sorry, I lost my place. One is not allowed to sharpen a knife on Shabbat, on Yontif, but one is allowed to draw it against its opposite number. In other words, that you're allowed to, I guess, it's not directly sharpening it, it's somehow making it more effective. I don't know exactly what the difference is, but the Machlokas he learns concerns the case of Shbod, because it concerns that similar to Mashchizas Asakin, right? Which where one can't sharpen it, but according to Rabbi Yehuda, one can actually draw it against the other one. Okay, well, Amr Chizda. Let's see that further. Amr Chizda the Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Chizda says that's Rabbi Yehuda. It's Rabbi Yehuda, like Rabbanan. Rabbi Yehuda, the Mar Rabbi Yehuda B'Shem Shmuel. Divra Kol Hi. Rabbi Yehuda's same name is Shmuel. That it's according to everybody. Now, I'm confused. Did I get an invite? I thought I invited you. Just a second. Okay, let's go back here again. Let me go back a line because Rabbi Yehuda's got mixed up. Can Tanya Rabbi Yehuda bar Pazi the Barzila who hadavar. The ways that Pnei Moshe translated, not the way I said it before. Who hadavar bitmiya. Is this what they argue about? This last thing about the fire? That's not what they argue about. So says the Gemara. So mahu hadavar. So what is the machlekes? Out. So he says, the machlekes is about sharpening the skewer. Because were it to be to create fire from the were to create fire. See, that's not what I'm saying. That was not like Pnei Moshe. I really have to go much more literally like Pnei Moshe. Let's see the Pnei Moshe. It says, Ma'u Davar. I'm sorry, the Korban Eidah. Pnei Moshe. Sorry. I am confused because I'm learning at the same time Peah, in which there's only Pnei Moshe. So Pnei Moshe is on the inside and Peah, and the Ribaz is on the outside. So here it's the Korban Eidah on the inside, Pnei Moshe on the outside. So I'm getting confused. I'm sorry. So in any event, so let's see inside again. In the Korban Eidah says Umashani Ma'u Davar is Marimu Matmiya. What's he astonished on? So Umashani lays la Kumar Shnei Matmiya. He's astonished both of them. That Rabbi Yehuda ain't a matir malacha gemura. Rabbi Yehuda is not matir complete malacha. In other words, we have the Masechus Shabbos, Rabbi Eliezer, who's matir machshirei ochel nefesh on Shabbos. But Rabbi Yehuda was never matir machshirei ochel nefesh on Shabbos. What's Rabbi Yehuda matir? Only the following thing. So let's which is mashchin sakin rabbi chaberta. So let's see that side again one more time. So Tanabina Barpazi the Brazil hu hadavar. Is this the case? So ma hu hadavar. So what is hu hadavar? Echad rosh shipur hu hadavar. El teish min avorim hadavar. What is he astounded at? Is he astounded at? Echad rosh shipur. Astounded at ish min avorim. Is which one astonishes him that it should be the issue between Rabbi and Rabbanan? Both of them. Okay, so Leisach el Kadof. The machlekes is a minor one. It's concerned specifically the case of mashchiz not mashchiz zakin, which we tantamount to mechadid rosh shespud. Doesn't concern sharpening that, which would be tantamount to sharpening that of skewer that even Rabbi Yehuda has. Rabbi Eliezer, Masechah Shabbos, matir that, but not Rabbi Yehuda. So the only issue with these matter is that you can drag one against the other. That's the machlekes. Rabbi Yehuda allows that, and Rabbanan forbid it. So it says Rabbi Chisti from before, who said the machlekes is the chadei rosh shespud, does concern sharpening the head of the skewer, which is tantamount to the sharpening of the knife. He says no, the Rabbi Yehuda. That is Rabbi Yehuda the Amoira, not Rabbi Yehuda the Tana. Rabbi Yehuda Amoira. The Rabbi Yehuda Shem Shmuel, the Rabbi Yehuda said, name of Shmuel, everybody agrees. There's no disagreement about this. Even Rabbanan agree that you can draw one knife against the other. Why? In order to remove the fat which is on. In other words, it's like scrubbing. It's not like sharpening, and therefore everybody is not it. Okay, says the Gemara. Kol elush b'yontif ain't tzorich l'mar b'Shabbos. So here the Korban says towards the bottom, Masnisi repair the Beitza. This is Mishnah 5 Beitza. Kol chashit dvarim shehem mishum shvus or shus, things which are forbidden me to Rabbanan, things which are optional, and things which are mitzvah. It was safe that not kol elu b'yontif amukah b'chom Shabbos. All these things are yontif, certainly not Shabbos, and b'yontif Shabbos el ochel nefesh yovad. The only difference is ochel nefesh uparich ilain inun. What are they? What are these? What are these elu? Right? Kol elu b'yontif. It sounds like plural, right? Getting back to the Gemara. Ilain inun. There's only one difference between Shabbos and Yom Tov. It's Elu, a plural, right? Va'isa Charanin. Is there another difference? Says Maria. Skila b'Shabbos in. Skila Shabbos ain't Skila b'Yom. Sorry. There's the top of Chesed up. There's Skila on Shabbos and Skila on Yom. That's enough Kamina, right? The penalty. Kores b'Shabbos. There's Kores on Shabbos if it was done. The Moach was done without Eidim and Asra, without witnesses and warning. And Kores b'Yom. There's no Kores b'Yom. Malchus b'Yom Tov. There is Malchus on Yom Tov. If a person could transgress Yom Tov, it's a lav. He gets flogged. There is no Malchus b'Shabbos. There's no Malchus on Shabbos. It's going according to the opinion, the Chayra, that somebody does a Chiv Misas Basin does not get Malchus by Chiv Misas Basin. Okay, Vod Min Hadon. And there is another difference, which is Shokin Atzi B'Samim L'Mila B'Yom Tov. You can grind the besamim to use as a salve for Bris Milah on Yom Tov, Avalon Shabbos, but not on Shabbos. So Yosef Ushamal. So after Bris Milah, then it's raised Doiche Yom Tov. Otherwise, it's not Doiche Yom Tov. There's another difference. The time in Moed Chachan Meir, Chachan consider Meir Bechotam Shabakarka. When you have seals, literally nuts. No, literally seals, but things which are knotted and holding down, lids in the ground. So it's more chomer because these lids are like. Once upon a time, I used to saw this. I forget where. I think it was in Toronto many years ago. That they had the garbage cans down in the ground, and so the lid was flush with the ground. So with that you'd have a seal which seals the lid shut. So that seal is more chomer than a seal on a regular keli because it's more similar to binyan and karka. Right, so therefore, Chachamim consider Ameir b'chosom shebekarka shemafkin umafkirin umatirin v'chaytchim. One can. There is different ways of loosening them. Mafkin is to shake them loose. Mafkin is to unravel it. Matirin is to untie it v'chaytchim and cut it. So b'Shabbos mifakvin on Shabbos all you can do is shake it loose. Avalom Mafkin can't unravel it. V'lo Matirin, and he can't untie it. V'lo Chotchim. Right? So therefore we see that there's this difference. On Yom Tov is there much more leniencies, right? That you're allowed to do with these binyan bekarka as opposed to on Shabbos. So that's another nafkamina. Says Gemara, you should know, Uvekem Shabbos mutar. On Kalim, this is only because of the binyan bekarka thing, which is more severe. But if it's Kalim, which are separate from the ground, then all these things you can do on Shabbos in order to remove the seal. And Ein Tzluch Maribel goes out saying you can do it in the Yom Tov as well. Okay, next says Gemara, Ein ben Shabbos Yom Kippur is not Shabbos Yom Kippur, El Shezez Doin B'dei Odom Zez Doin B'Kores. This gets Misas based in, and this gets Kores, right? So says Gemara, Haba Tashlumin Shteim Shavim. In terms of Tashlumin, they're both the same. So in terms of payment, in other words, Kimle bin Ramine. Say if you transgress Yom Tov, then you transgress Yom Kippur and Shabbos. In both cases, you're parted from payment, which comes together would come together with whatever malacha you were doing. And so at the time, the Masis Rabbi Yehuda ben Akana, and that's like Rabbi Yehuda ben Akana. Rabbi Yehuda ben Akana Omer Yom Kippur Shabbos b'tashlumin. Yom Kippur is like Shabbos in terms of payment. Okay. So in other words, that if you do malacha of transgressing Yom Kippur, at the same time you do something which is going to be mechayiv you, moment like zar chetz v'kar shirayim be'alichaso, you throw an arrow and it's hotzah, and at the same time you rip somebody else's clothing, so you put the both on Shabbos and Yom Kippur because giving the greater penalty. Okay, Rabbi Shimon ben Menashe Omer, Shimon ben Menashe says mechayav krisus k'mechayav beistin. Seems to be saying the same thing. Chayav Kores like Chayav Basin. Manafik Mibanel. What is the difference between the two approaches? It seems to be exactly the same. Rabbi Yaakov Shem Rabbi Abuna Nara Nida Benehon. It is concerning a Nara where there is what should be knas that you pay for a person who rapes a girl between 12 and 12 and a half has to pay knas, but if she's in neither is chayav kores. So this, as we shall see, is a nafkamina. Same thing is true according to him by the wife of his sister, who's also chayav kores. I mean, the sister of his wife, which is also chayav kores. Al dait Ben Akana. So according to Ben Akana, Ma Shabbos ein lo heter chayisura. Shabbos is no heter after it is forbidden. It remains. There's no such thing as it ever becoming mutter. Shabbos is Shabbos is Shabbos. True, there's going to be a weekday the next day, but right now it's Shabbos. So this day is never going to become mutter, as opposed to Nida. Right, Nida there is yesh heter. It's going to become mutter, which goes to the mikvah. Right? So, but today then, Jabbi had Ma Shabbos ein lo heter b'achayisura, av Yom Kippurim ein lo heter b'achayisura. It never becomes mutter. Ve'elu havei yislan heter, but nida or even achos isha, if his wife dies, in both cases theoretically that state can become mutter. The state of Shabbos, the state of Yom Tov can never become mutter, but the state of nida and the state of achos isha can become mutter. Right? So therefore they're not comparable, and therefore in those cases you would pay the knas. There is no kinum rabbi minay. Mishalim, you pay. Well, Daiter Shimon Menasio, but Shimon Menasio, however, Mash Shabbos Yish B'Kores. Just like Shabbos Yom Kores, Av Yom Kippurim Yish B'Kores. Veilu, and so too Nida and Achosisha, because it's the Kores. Eino Mishalim, you don't pay. Okay. Rabbi Pazi, the Korban changes this to Ba. He asks a question. Makos V'Kores. If you didn't have it, which has the chiyav of malchus and the chiyav of kares, what's the status? Ma'amin ba el tanai. What does Tanoim say? Do we say that the kares undermines any chiyav malchus, or do we give them malchus? Right. So Rabbi Bielsa said svicha urabbanan. He said this is a question which is like teku. It's never been resolved. Okay, svicha in the Yerushalmi. It's like take on the Babi. Rabbi Yonah boy, Rabbi Yonah asks, Shama min hada. Why don't you resolve this question from the following? Tana Shim B'Chai. The Shim B'Chai taught Tana Shim B'Chai. Rabbi Tarfon and Rabbi Shim B'Chai taught that Tarfon says, Nema Koretz B'Shabbos, Nema Koretz B'Yom Kippurim. Says Koretz B'Shabbos, says Koretz on Yom Kippur. Ma Koretz Nema B'Shabbos ein Makos Eitz Koretz. Just like by Shabbos, you don't give Makos for the Koretz of Shabbos. So you don't give the malchus for the kares. You can't give in a case that there's a potential chiyav kares. You can't give malchus. Okay. Certainly, in case of potential chiyav misas basin, you can't give malchus. So we see Kilim Ramane only even that principle applies also to not just misa and mama, but also misa and malchus. All right, one of us is Kum Rabbi Yossi. Let's say him from Rabbi Yossi. No. Our question is only is Lakon Rabbi Shimon Lakish. But Rabbi Yochanan, in Makos Eitzel Misa Yeshlo, if he holds that there's Makos by Misa, and therefore, because certainly there can be Makos by Kares, as we're going to see. So therefore, Oklash going to be Shlokish, not according to Rabbi Yochanan. We're going to see what this is. The Spalgum, the Machlekas. Hashechet Oizaves B'noi L'Shem Avodas Akum. So Hashechet Oizaves B'noi, for the purpose of Avodas are the mother and the daughter animals in the same day, which is a lab. Yochamar Imhuchabul L'Shem Oizaves B'noi Loka. And so they gave you Asra for it. How they want you for? If you're wanting for Oizaves B'noi, you get Malchus. Because I'm only born for a lot. L'Shem Akum, the same feature says, L'Shem Akum Niskal, then he gets Kila. So he also said a Maisa, which is Nitan Le Misa's Payson, can also be given to Malchus, depending on the Asra. So therefore, there's no question. Kores and Malchus, if they were mastering for Malchus, will get Malchus. No. Even the amount they gave Asra because of Osa Besno, ain't no loke. He has to get malchus. Why? Because if they wouldn't, since it's susceptible to skila, because if they would have warned him that he's going to get skila, so therefore he can't get malchus. Says Maramaleh, he said no. It's not right. Rabbi Yochanan doesn't have the same issue. They don't have the same issue because there's two separate isurim. Also, the snow can never come to Kares. Right? So therefore, it could be that also the snow, because the separate issue then Avodah Zarah. That's why Asra works for Malchus, but also Besmino. But a case where you have the same Isra, Yom Kippur, and it's saying you the proper Asra for Kares. I gave Asra for a Malchus, so maybe there is no Malchus. Because in the same Aveira, the Misa supersedes the Malchus. So it says, I feel Rabbi Yochanan. Why? Because Talmud Shnei there's two separate things also with Yom Kippur. Here it's for one thing, the Yom Kippur itself. Al Daita Rishim and Lakish. Now, according to Rishim and Lakish, who holds that it's for certain that the Misa is Misa's Deicha Malchus. The Misa is Malchus, right? Ma bin Ilan Tani Ilan Rabbanan. So the question is, what's between those a share. So questions, what's the way what I have here written down in my Gemara is, what's between those who learn from Kedei Rishaso, that you're going to give him Mishum Risha Achas to Mechayev of Lo Mishum Turushos, he's going to give him one penalty, not two penalties. And those who learn that a lav and Itan Zoras Mistas based in cannot be given, where there's those Mistas based in, there can't be Malchus. So let's see. Tanya, Elin Rabbanan, according to Rabbanan learned from Kedei Rishaso, so lavin lo krisos. It's even a regular lav, not just a chorus. You can't give double penalty. There's only one malchus for an event, not two malchus. Okay, but according to those who learn that the issue is giving malchus mokum krisos based in or b'mokum kares, so then you could give theoretically, if the same deed entailed to malchus, you could give two sets of malchus. Nafkamina is somebody who has relations with a mamzeres. This is a quick question of if you have a lav, which has malchus and mammon. What about in that case? So in that case, if you say the difference will be if you learn that Kores Paters Malchus, that's only Kores or Mr. Spacing. But learn Malchus Paters another Malchus and also Paters Mammon, and therefore if a person has relations with a mamzeres he raped her, so then he's going to get Malchus for the mamzeres and not going to have to pay. The person who lights, who ignites his friend's pile of grain yontif. I'll die in Tanya. Since the according to those well, it's only where there's kares that there's no double penalty. So then, kares. In this case, mamzeres and yontif is no kares. Mishalim, you pay. I'll die in Rabbanon. But according to those that iknei shaso, that there's no two malchus on the same deed, and therefore there's no also malchus like a mishale. So there's malchus ain't a mishale, right? Since there's malchus, you don't pay. In that case, el naros yeshnem knas. We're talking about naro. Gemara Mishnah says that women whom there's a prohibition to have relations, we could still get knas for that. That should be not like the Rabbanan who say Kedei also. Or Tanya, Rabbanan said, Tipat Dibra Kol. No, it could be talking about everybody, Mamzer Bal Mamzeres. It says a Bal or Mamzeres. It could be it's a Mamzeres relation or a Mamzeres. So there's no lav, a Malchus, so therefore there's payments. Says Moravashis Achiv Lav Yabim Tohi. It says that we're talking about. It says Eshes Achiv, your wife's, your brother's wife. Your brother must be dead, because we're talking about a case. We're not talking about a chiyuv skila. So if it's a lav, right, and there is malchus on it, right. So therefore, it's right now, right here, right. So then, if there's an Isser, right, the Lav, having relations with a Yavama before, I guess it's Yavama before Yibum, right, in the state of Zika, I guess, so that. What is the problem exactly? How come this doesn't open this? I don't know what your ears so. I'm not sure what the. I'm lost here a bit. It's really technicality. I see it. It's the question is how can there be a knas in Eshes Achiv altogether? Because she was, it means she's it must be that she's a Nara, true, she's a Nara, right? Because otherwise there, but her brother must be dead, because otherwise it'd be a Namurasa where there's skila and then there would be no knas. So it's a ziyavama. Okay. So it's a ziyavama. So therefore, how there can be a knas? Well, it's Eshes Achiv there in that Mishnah. It says there's knas. How can it be knas Eshes Achiv? Manashach. If his brother's still alive, there's no knas because there's a Mises Basin. Right? And if the Mises Basin, for sure there's no knas. Right? If he's and if the brother's dead, how can it be knas either? She's the Yavama, assuming that there were no kids. So that's more answers. The case is the case where his brother had kids from another wife, and that's why this wife was still a virgin, because the knas only shot by a nara besula, but she's erased isha. His brother, after having kids with one wife, then had Erutzin with another wife, who Mason died, Ubachiv and his brother came and raped her. In that case, we could say that even though there's a kares, it's possible to have it's possible to have a case where it's kares and where there's still possible to have a knas. And then it could be that Mishnah is talking about that case, and then in that case it's a case of kares, unless it's a knas, according to the assumption that Mishnah is talking about even cases of krisus, where they're still going to be coming up, still going to be a knas nevertheless. So therefore, this is really a question which is not correlated necessarily to the previous sugya. How is it possible to have a knas if the girl was Eshes Achiv? Because either if she's still Eshes Achiv, it's Mises Basin, there's no knas, and if it isn't, and if it's not Eshes Achiv because brother died, so it should be a bama, it should be mutter to him. So therefore, you have to come with the notion that it's talking about his brother's second wife. His brother had wife from kids from another wife. So therefore, there's no yibum, and that's why it's an isser. And the chiddush is that nevertheless, it's possible, or depending on which shita, to have knas or not have knas. Okay, we'll stop here for tonight, and pick up with halacha zayin next week.